Hello, this is Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit's Homebrew. Joining me today is Brent from Langeministudio that can be found on Instagram, as well as Kilk, who can be found on TikTok as well as Twitter.
Just with all the issues Wizards has basically been having, they've also been coming out with their new, either what you want to call it, 5.5 or 6th edition or D&D
Ooh, 5.5. I like that.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be backwards compatible.
Yeah.
A while back, there's a couple of YouTubers and content creators, Bob the World Builder, Sly Flourish, and one other, had pulled almost 9,000 people about D&D and Wizards of the Coast, and the results were kind of a bit interesting, as you guys saw. Like, the overall theme of it was basically how they felt about the game was overall positive. It was anywhere between 68 to 83% positive.
That's pretty good. You get 83% positive. That's
Yeah, especially after you sent the Pinkertons to people's house.
Yeah.
If you're at 83%, you're doing well.
I didn't even know those guys still existed.
When was the last time you recommended D&D to someone? It was all in the 40%. That was like the yellow flag. But big shocker, a lot of the questions of like, do you think D&D is becoming less popular, or how do you feel about the current direction of the game? How do you feel about Wizards of the Coast, or how do you feel about the current direction of Wizards of the Coast? Resoundingly 63 or 59% is the lowest to 80 or 93% negative. Like,
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, like the whole like idea towards the product, the game itself. Yeah, I absolutely like it. But yeah, when it comes to the people that own it, yeah, you generally get some negative feelings because of all the crap they've pulled.
I mean,
Yeah.
You have the OGL of last year.
That almost killed them right there.
That almost killed them right there, but it brought such a silver lining with the third-party content creators, with Project Black Flag, with Tales of the Valiant coming from Project Black Flag.
Just give you guys a heads up on that one. I backed it on Kickstarter. I have the player's handbook and the monster portfolio. I just got it last week. I'm going through it. It's D&D.
It's D&D. Yeah,
It is like 5% change. They don't get sued, but no, it's like learning curve will be super low for people coming from 5th edition.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I flew the player's handbook.
I wouldn't mind changing systems, but
I mean, if we want to, when I run my campaign, we could absolutely do that.
I mean, if there's not a big difference,
there's not, like, mechanically, almost nothing has changed.
Was it last Christmas they laid off like 11 to 1,200 people?
Was it
right, like a week?
Was that all at once, or did they do like 900 before and then like 400 after, or something like that?
They might have.
I don't remember the exact numbers. I know it was they laid off over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
In the holiday season,
and a lot of like big names like Mike Merles, who was the godfather of 4th and 5th edition. Like Mike Merles was the guy that with Chris Perkins made 5th edition. Oh, also Jeremy, I can't remember his last name. He's always on the videos. Crawford. That's it.
Awesome.
But those are just a couple of the issues that present Wizards of the Coast with an image problem to the community, like an overall very negative one. And as they're getting a little bit of resistance with the new edition and what they reveal, they're trying to cater to basically, I feel, the newer players.
Yeah.
With like
becoming a more politically correct.
Yes.
I guess.
And it has its positives.
Trying to make it more mainstream.
Yeah.
Anytime you start trying to make things,
when you try to please so many people,
it gets difficult.
Yeah, when you're trying to please millions of people with one product, it becomes bland.
I mean, I mentioned it on Instagram and all that. I don't know how I feel honestly about the orcs. They're not human. I guess they are humanizing them or giving them way more humanity.
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, but like if you went to our campaign setting to the Beastlands, you'd find roving hordes of like marauders or reavers and all that sort of stuff. You wouldn't, if you guys are out in the middle of the Beastlands, you ain't gonna find a family out hunting or on a picnic.
And that is true. I've been rolling over my head because I watched a video of a guy he went on like a 30-minute rant on how he did not like the new idea of orc in D&D 5.5, and my knee-jerk reaction was, yeah, I agree with you, this is terrible. But then I sat there and I thought about it. Well, why not just if you don't like it, just homebrew it?
Yeah.
Because that's what everyone else does.
Right. Like,
I mean,
It's the same as a couple episodes ago when we were talking with the Gary Gygax letter. If
Yeah.
you don't like it, change the rules.
yeah,
change the
yeah,
flavor.
they're presenting us with a blanket system,
Yeah.
and this is how it is as written. When's the last time anyone played 100% rules as written, like we talked about earlier?
you know.
So I'm like, yeah, if you don't like how they do orcs, freaking change it. If you want drow to be good guys and the sun elves be bad guys, okay, do it.
I mean, that's what we do. At least that's what I've done in my campaign.
Yeah.
It's like I got tired of the stereotypical
Yeah.
dark elves.
Yeah,
No,
if you want your orcs to be like the 40k orcs, like, let's go. Yep.
Let's go.
It's
More DACA.
I was it. The light elves have in our setting have a heavy like colonial like slavery history, almost like the British Empire. Like they have their hands in literally genetically making a couple of the races, like for bogs.
Oh, the furbolgs, yeah.
Like they genetically bred them with fae and giants in order to make a slave race.
right. You know, I like the idea personally of, like, we talk about the Warhammer
Mhm.
orcs.
Mhm.
I think
Yep.
that idea is super cool. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
just, they don't even in 40k, and even in regular fantasy, they reproduce with just spores that
Yeah.
are falling off of them all the time.
That's why in 40k planets that used to have an orc infestation, they deal with it forever now
forever.
because there's
Can
orc
never go
spores
away.
that were over somewhere and then they
And they were
reproduce.
created.
Yeah.
In
And
the,
yeah,
in
that's
the
a
40k universe, people forget that orcs were created
orcs were a manufactured species, yeah.
by the old races in a
Mhm.
celestial war against, like, the
The-
Necrons.
Yeah, the
Right.
the katana, the Necrons, yeah.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's wild, and they can regenerate from sunlight.
Yeah,
Like, imagine if orcs in D&D could just.
they were almost photosynthetic, yeah.
That's why they're green.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
The reason they're green.
Yeah.
Because of
Like-
photosynthesis.
It's
like-
awesome.
They're basically plant barbarians.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool if like
That would
they
be-
played a Hamadryad or a Dryad or a Macondroid or something like that, where if you're out in sunlight or direct sunlight and you're not in combat, or like, oh, you could be even in combat, you gain 1d6 HP around.
That would be cool, yeah.
Yeah, like in that one, I don't even think the orcs in Warhammer, I don't even think they have, like, internal organs.
They're
They're missing a whole bunch of them.
yeah, they
Like,
do.
just-
It's like some of them, like, they don't even need to eat. I mean, they do,
No,
but they
can-
don't need to.
They can just sustain off of the sun.
Yeah, they just
Which
fight.
is crazy.
It's what you want to make it.
Yeah, and that's why I keep telling myself with 5.5 and with Tales of the Valiant, as I'm reading through it, I'm kind of going, okay, I'm trying to focus on the mechanics
Mm-hmm.
and like what do I like about this, because flavor can change.
Playing devil's advocate, I want to come back to our discussion. Let's say, you went and got named president of Wizards of the Coast, or like at least, Wizards of the Coast, because that would be just the D&D section, or
Yeah.
the Magic the Gathering, or if you just got put in charge of the D&D section, of Wizards of the Coast. What's your first order of business or plan to fix the kerfuffle of this? Like, 'cause it's just, for lack of a better word, this is a giant fucking shit sandwich.
Yeah,
I'd put orcs back the way they were.
I would. Yeah, I know, right? Or you have orcs with a C and orcs with a K.
Yeah. Orcs with a K are the best. Kilk approves.
Kilk approves.
That's why I have two
Either
Ks
that,
in
or
my
you
name.
just like,
Oh, jeez.
yeah, you're right. You write the lore that, it's for progressive points, but you
Yeah.
have that first page thing where they have the small paragraph. It's like, remember, this lore is not
Yeah.
static across your
Mhm.
games.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow this lore. This is just what, the preset is.
Yeah, because I would be interested with, backtracking just like a little bit with the orcs. Like, are they going to redo their campaign settings, like Forgotten Realms? Drizzt
Yeah.
had, if I pronounce that name wrong, I don't care.
No, I think that's
With
actually how it's
Drizzt,
pronounced.
they had Kingdom Mini Arrows. They had an orc king in one of the books, and it was I forget his first name, but he was King Mini Arrows, and he was creating an orc kingdom in the frozen north, and they had to deal and Drizzt had to deal with them like a lot. Like they fought a couple of times.
Yeah.
Or
So it's like, okay, so in Forgotten Realms, are orcs now not going to be the
These-
big threat that they used to be?
these
Are they?
barbarians
Yeah,
that
are they gonna
come from
be?
there.
You know, are they gonna
I
have
mean-
the next big city that's like, oh no, we're gonna be, we're gonna be mushroom farmers or whatever, and
Right,
we're gonna
yeah.
we're gonna learn mining from the dwarves, and we're gonna be all
Or-
singing kumbaya.
it's just like history of our real world.
Yeah.
The Germans aren't the Nazis of the 1930s and 40s. They've progressed.
Right.
Yeah, they the legitimate Nazis of World War II are all dead,
Yeah.
and now the country is like, yeah, those guys sucked. Let's
Yeah.
move on. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, do the orcs have this big epiphany about what they've been doing throughout the time that we've been sitting here,
Mm-hmm.
and playing D&D? Like, they've always kind of been like that barbaric race that is, more aggressive than it is diplomatic.
And what about their gods, like Grumsh One Eye?
yeah,
What are they gonna do with him?
You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, I am interested to see what they do with it, and that is kind of one of the things that now transitioning into the question that Nate asked about what would we do. That's kind of one of the things that I would do is I would sit down with the actual creative minds that do this stuff and go, okay, here's what you have. Obviously, this is what you guys have decided to do. In one way, shape, or form, we are gentrifying the orc race. How do we move forward with this? If we're being backwards compatible, how do we move forward with this? And give the creative minds free reign to do this.
I mean,
Because that's what I think, in my opinion, has happened with Wizards of the Coast. That's a little bit negative, is that the business side of it has gotten too controlling.
taking over.
They're more worried about what stockholders say than what the people say that actually spend their money.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as, throughout D&D and throughout the books, there is backstory to things that have happened, right?
Yeah.
And it could be something as simple as Mistra decided that she's tired of these orcs being barbaric and terrible, and so she cast, let's say, the 12th level spell concept, when she got...
I want that
removed.
back.
And she goes, this race has been uplifted in some way, shape, or form in her eyes. I make them all more intelligent.
War of the Spider Queen. 6 books War of the Spider Queen, to where there were drow that were like, no, I don't want to be drow anymore. And so they literally did like ritual magic, and they separated the drow to where now you had drow and dark elves. And
just makes
Carlon the Wraithon, I think that's how you pronounce it, was like, oh, you're not evil anymore? I now accept you as my followers.
Yeah, come up with some cool backstory, Forgotten Realms lore as to
Yeah.
why the orcs have, or any of these other races that
Had this epiphany of
had this awakening moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Like
And-
as a species.
yeah,
Not just as like, because it can't just be like one kingdom. It has to be the whole species.
right.
If I read or if I understand the 5.5 stuff. So yeah, that'd be really
Just
cool way of tying it
don't
together.
rewrite it. Add
Yeah,
on
don't
to it.
rewrite. Yeah, don't
leave it-
retcon.
Leave
Yeah.
it in there that for
Yeah.
years that these guys were, rampaging barbarians, or that they weren't
Yeah.
as intelligent
can-
as the intelligent races.
I
right?
mean, look at, what is it? The Roman Empire days. You can't tell me you had the Franks or the Turks
Or the Visigoths.
the Visigoths or anything like that. And look at where they came from is today.
Yeah.
Those nations, those heritages are not what they were literally 2,000 years ago.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely
give
right.
us some lore behind it. That's
Yeah.
what I think. In reality,
Yeah.
I think that's what the player base is upset about. I don't think that anyone's ever going to be upset because their orc isn't a mindless slaughtering machine. You can still
Yeah.
make your dude have low intelligence.
Because I'm gonna say 99% of players, if they play a half orc, they're not playing them as a rampaging, slavering idiot.
Right.
They're actually creative. They're thoughtful.
So
know?
give us some backstory. That's
Yeah.
what we want. When these new books come out,
Yeah.
when the player's handbook comes out, make a mention of something. This race is this. In the older times, this happened, but now the race, thanks to XYZ god, they talk about Helm and Mistra and all these guys all
Yeah.
the time. Just have
I-
something happen in the god world that uplifted this race.
And all of a
and you're done.
sudden, yeah.
Very random comparison. I mean, that was a lot of the complaints with like the time jumps in the last season of Game of Thrones. There
Oh.
was no addressing of it.
Mhm.
But like with the
Mhm.
House of the Dragon, like that first season covers 30 years. It's basically the prelude to the Dance of the Dragons War, basically between the two houses.
Mhm.
And from episode to episode, they talk about just like, oh, it's been this much time, just in one sentence. Oh, it's been this much time since so and so has been here. But the last episode, so and so was there, so that gives you a time frame. Oh, it's been 2 years since the last episode.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah, it's like, oh, because then a lot of stuff you can hand wave away of, well, wait, what happened? Oh, okay, that happened 2 years ago. Okay, that's why this person may look different, or someone gained weight, or whatever. A lot of stuff can be hand waved away because, oh, time passed. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we just did that 2 sessions ago with our own campaign with Xingshi. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Xingshi teleported right in there. You turned to Nick, who used to be that player. He goes, your character can do that? He goes,
Yeah.
no, but that's not, he could have changed. It's been 40 years technically in game time since he's played that character.
Yeah, things change. Yeah. Well, it's just like you're playing Damanjarl the God back when I was playing him before he was a god.
Yeah.
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 But stuff changes.
For me, if I was like named this president, or like I was put in charge by the president to come up with some sort of action plan, yeah, you have to like figure out a way to obviously bring in the new players.
Yes.
You bring in the the people that make sure that your stuff's not politically incorrect, or isn't wrong, or like isn't insensitive. I don't want the Space Jammer thing to happen with the Hadozi.
Oh yeah.
Where they literally could pick out artwork
in our campaign now.
Yeah.
Well,
there was literal artwork in that first printing where they could compare it to black people with the blackface slave.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah.
Like, you could literally
Yeah, you gotta be
superimpose it
careful with those.
of like the poses of the monkeys. That's literally.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it was bad.
I mean, there's a reason why I hold on to that first thing. I like it.
You don't agree with it. It's just history.
Yeah, it's history, and I know that's that's probably a little bit of a collector's item now.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, like, let's talk, 20 years down the road.
Oh yeah.
Well,
having that original book is probably going to be
the bit, yeah, like the deities and demigods book of first edition. Like, they had the Cthulhu, and they had one other mythos that was that basically a cease and desist letter from the Lovecraftian family or whatever, his foundation or whoever runs it, take this out, because it was before that 100-year mark of like.
Oh, it wasn't public domain yet, or
it
whatever.
wasn't public domain yet.
Okay.
So they had to republish it and take those out. Those first couple of printings, you can buy like the second edition printing that's been taken out for maybe $60-$70. Those first edition printings are about $400 to $500.
Oh, I could see it.
that
I
makes
could see
sense.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those are huge collector pieces. So.
Heck yeah. I wouldn't
You
have
figure out
one.
how to bridge that lore, though, in my opinion, and maybe restart or whatever, just down at the ground on the grassroots level with the comic shops, with the Adventures League, to bring in more people and all that. Make a better. Well, I don't think there's a type of rewards system for playing Adventures League other than your character growing.
I wish there was something cooler about Adventure League that makes people want
Yeah,
to
like
do it, right?
Yeah.
I understand that it's very difficult, right? Because like if I have my character and I go and I sit down at your Adventures League table, and then I leave and I come back and I go to yours with my new character, like it's just strange. But I wish that they came up with some kind of reward system for doing that.
I mean, obviously, I don't want it to be competitive like Magic the Gathering with Friday
No.
thing where like you're first place, so you get these many packs of cards, or you get this particular promo that month. But like, let's say you get to level 5 with your character, and you've just playing Adventures League. You can prove it. Wizards sends out these particular dice that they're all like making.
Yeah, Adventures League dice or something.
Or if you, especially in today's day and age of digital, have an Adventures League app to where if you get credit
unlocks,
and then all of a sudden you get like, hey, maybe you get $5-10 off of like PDFs for like their next product release or something.
I know when we first started talking like about this the first time before obviously the recording I done, that like we came from 3 different point of views. Like, you're talking about like restructuring management and the
Mhm.
pay, like getting
Mhm.
good faith. You talked about like more the digital angle because that's
Mhm.
that's where you come from, is the
Yeah.
esports
Right, yeah.
digital
Yeah.
thing, and I talked about like the storytelling and
Yeah.
restructuring
Uh-huh.
that and
Yep.
going like what I just said, just like make it more appealing to like play it in a community setting.
Yeah.
So I've
Absolutely.
never done an Adventures League thing ever. But can you do Adventures League online? Like, imagine if they had a Roll20 esque site that you could just do Adventures League stuff on, and your character would be saved no matter what's happened in that Adventure League setting, and then you could have people from all over the world playing Adventures League together, using D&D rules.
They might have that, but I just don't know it because we've never
That
had to
if
deal
that
with it.
if that doesn't exist, it should.
Right.
That's
Like,
really cool.
D&D Beyond is a start to that because
Yeah.
you already have all of your sheets and everything saved.
Oh, yeah,
and it can already be transferred into Roll20.
I think can't you with D&D Beyond because you have the most experience with that. Just like set it to settings of like Adventures League legal.
League rules, yeah, there are
League
solutions
rules,
for
okay.
it. But imagine if there was a mechanism or a site that is like Roll20 or any of that stuff that is just Adventures League. And maybe there is, and I'm just, oblivious
And we
to
just
it.
don't know about it. Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're working on because I know they're like really trying to come up with their own VTT of like.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make
'cause
sense.
Then you have,
Yeah.
Then you would have all these cool things that, hey, if you play in an Adventures League, at least as long as you play twice a month, you keep access to X or Y. You get some kind of reward onto your Adventures League things. So now, instead of having to buy the book that has, say, the Loxodons in there, you get access to Adventure League to just the Loxodon. So if you want to make a Loxodon Adventures League guy now, you can spend your little Adventures League points to unlock.
To go do
That
it,
was
yeah.
actually the other thing that people were complaining about is they took out basically the a la carte part of D&D Beyond. They took out the individual. You have to now buy the entire book instead of just the individual sections.
Oh, good thing I went through and got every magic spell and every sub race. I went through and picked.
Good
apart
thing I
those
already
books.
did that.
Yeah, I went through and picked apart those books. I'm like, I don't need everything else in there. If I'm building characters, I just need the races. I just need the subclasses.
Yeah.
I just need,
You don't need the
I can see
fluff.
why
I
they
want the
would
meat
do
and
that.
I want the meat and bones. I don't need the fluff.
Well, there was books on there that you could go through and get everything in the book for less than the price of the book if you bought it piece by piece.
If you did it right, yeah.
That's
Who designed that price structure?
right. Yeah, it was bad.
Well, if you let's say you buy,
But it also wasn't Wizards at first who created it.
It was
okay.
who was that? I cannot remember the name
I
of
don't
the company.
remember. I remember when Wizards bought it though.
Yeah, Wizards bought the company and then they
Yeah,
they didn't get rid of the people. They actually brought them on.
Oh, so I actually made an intelligent decision.
But then again, that would require. Now you're talking to Blizzard about keeping a live service.
Yeah.
I say Blizzard. Sorry, Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, yeah. I see. I thought you said Blizzard, but I'm like, no, I thought you said
Blizzard
Blizzard.
has shit the bed more than once.
Yeah. But now you're But now you're telling
They
them
haven't
to get
even
into
told
the
anymore.
area of a live service game.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's hard, right? Because D&D technically wasn't designed to be a live service game. It was designed to be
wasn't.
at the table and hanging out. And,
Yeah.
I understand some people have aversions to the VTT stuff.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to, I hate saying this because it's against my core being, do a subscription service.
Yeah, they already do.
But do it, either include it in D&D Beyond, or have it be standalone for like.
And we talked about this last time, right?
I think we may have, yeah.
Having
just a couple of bucks, nothing crazy,
that,
nothing like. I'm not talking like $20, nothing stupid, but like below 10.
4th edition had like their character builder for 3, 4, 5. I mean, it was 20 years ago or 15 years ago.
But are they releasing a book every month? How often do
It
they
felt-
release a
with 4th edition, it felt like
It felt like it was every
3
other
or 4 months.
Yeah, I think it's every quarter.
Even
Yeah.
now, right? Are they or do they release a new book every month? Like, or is
No.
they do release a new book every 3 or 4 months?
It feels like it's 2 or 3 books a year now.
Yeah,
At
with
first-
5th edition, yeah.
But at first, they were just like they did publicly announce that it's like, hey, we're really limiting. We want quality over quantity,
Which is fine.
Yeah, and I
At
appreciate
first,
that.
But-
Yeah.
and so we look at these books, right?
We've got
let's say
we got
take
the
Icewind
shelves
Dale
over
book,
here,
and
yeah.
let's say it was $20.
A
right?
book?
Well, let's just say.
Or just
Like
okay.
if you went to buy it at the store, it might be $20.
Okay.
It might be $35. Whatever. Imagine instead that you take a $5 monthly service fee to subscribe to D&D. Let's call it D&D Beyond for funsies.
Yeah.
But it gives you access to everything.
Okay.
For $5 a month. But if you're not paying that $5 a month anymore, you lose access to that because you don't own the books. You're basically renting the books. Now, let's say we're talking Icewind Dale. Let's say that book costs $20. If they're only releasing 2 or 3 books a year, they're not really losing any money. In fact, they're probably gaining money by just having all the.
It's the same.
Still sell them the hard copies for $20 all you want to.
Yeah.
But give people the way to do the digital stuff for say $5. Make it $7 if you really want to. Who cares?
If you want to spend 60, $70 on that, maybe that's another incentive with the collector's editions. With like, if you're buying these, very nice because like.
The covers are cool.
For all the issues with the new Vecna book, the artwork's beautiful on that collector's cover. Like all the collector's covers are beautiful. Like I have the Volos one, and with the Mind Flare on it, I love that.
Yeah.
But like if you go pay that a little bit extra money, obviously for the extra art, throw in like a little flyer or whatever in that front page. It's like, hey, redeem this QR code and you get 10-20% off or whatever.
Yeah, there's
there
so
you go.
many
Yeah,
cool marketing opportunities that
Oh,
they
yeah.
have that they're
Yeah.
just. I feel like they're not cohesive enough as a company
Mm-hmm.
with the tabletop stuff versus the virtual stuff. Like they have yet to figure out how to make these things work together
I mean,
effectively.
Hmm.
And I think once they get those things not dialed down, or maybe they just need the right people in the right places in their marketing department to be like, hey, we're still going to make a ton of money
Yeah.
doing this. And in fact, it might even be making more money because now you got people signing up for monthly subscriptions
Mm-hmm.
and they don't even own the stuff. They're
Yeah.
signing up for a monthly subscription to just have access to all that
Unless
stuff.
you're like a tech billionaire that's buying a particular social media company and renaming it and having basically sole authority over everything. Most companies aren't a singular
What's up,
focus.
No, they have
It's
boards upon boards.
It's
and- yeah.
usually a collective conscious of 12 people,
if not more, but yeah.
and it
Mhm.
feels like Hasbro or Wizards or whoever their board is, it does not feel like they're working all together on the same
Yeah,
page.
they seem
No.
pieced out.
Yeah.
And when we first recorded, that's kind of where I was going with my managerial idea is listen more to your creative mind and let the bean counters do their jobs.
Yeah.
And their job is to not tell the creative side what to do. The bean counters are there to make money.
Yeah.
The creative side is there to make the product. That's it. The creative side doesn't sell the product.
That was in the TV series Mad Men. That was
Yes.
a constant struggle
Mhm. Yep.
between the financial department and the creative minds, and like obviously Don was in charge of the creative minds. He's like, you do not talk to my people.
Yeah, talk to me.
You
Don't
talk
talk
to
to them. Yeah, don't talk to them. They're
But we
doing their
also-
thing. They're
we
doing their
also
job.
run into this in the gaming world too all
Yes.
the time, right? Like games are pushed out way earlier than they should be.
Oh yeah.
You know, because they have to meet the number crunchers deadlines.
Yeah,
Well,
someone
they don't even play beta testers like
Yeah.
like back in the day. They just
We've evolved into
Which is
beta
why-
testing publicly.
which is why I hate it when game developers drop trailers 2-3 years ahead of the game.
Right.
That's not what I would do.
Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, exactly. It's where it's the thing. It's like, no, you drop your trailer 6 months before launch when the game is ready.
Yeah.
Because now you have people going, hey, you 3 years ago you put this out and you haven't done it yet. Oh well, we ran into problems during alpha. You had that figured out before you dropped the trailer? Come on.
Right.
And so now people are getting mad because
Overwatch.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we see it
mean,
all the time.
Even me as a DM, because I'm into the video editing now. I
Yep.
mean, I've always been, but really now because I can do it on my phone and the laptop. Like
Yeah,
2
technology's
weeks
come a
before
long
our
way.
campaign, went around to Tumblr and to different sites and made that little trailer 2 weeks
Which
before.
was super cool, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I said Overwatch because when Overwatch 2 came out, there was one of the videos showed Reinhardt and Brigitte
Yeah.
coming together and taking their shields and putting them together and creating a massive energy shield that blocked a bunch of stuff, and everyone was like, "Oh,
We can link special abilities.
are we gonna see like duo abilities or anything like that?" And then they just ignore the fact that it ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? We didn't do that. Mandela effect. What?
Right.
No, that's just you being blind and not. So yeah, it's like in my opinion, I think I mean I've said this before. If I were in charge, I would let my creative people take the helm. You create a good product, make a thing that works, and you don't fire people 3 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah.
Treat your people good. If you treat your people good, they will do good work.
I
Right.
mean, Nintendo's shown that. Who runs Warhammer? It's
Games Workshop.
Games Workshop.
Yeah.
They are terrible. They are making terrible business decisions in my mind. But
right now, but I mean, a couple.
but back in the day, yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, though, they gave their employees Christmas bonuses, or they let them take
Yeah.
weeks off in December.
You know, when I first moved out here to the Omaha area, and I was looking for jobs and stuff, Games Workshop was looking at opening new stores in the area. And
Yeah,
that was one of the interviews that I had. They offered me
Oh,
a
no
spot
way.
to open a Games Workshop store. And I turned it down, right? Because they were like, you would be the only employee, basically. You'd have to be there 6 days a week. You know, but
Yeah, there's only that one.
That's terrible.
their
There's only
benefits
that
were
one out on
crazy
West
good,
Center
like,
in Omaha.
compared to anybody else
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
It was
I've driven by it. I've never walked into it.
I've gone in there once or twice just to look and see what terrain they have,
Mhm.
just because obviously we play D&D.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of the terrain you go to Game Shop in Bellevue, which is one of my more favorite game stores
Oh, I love
in the
Game
area,
Shop.
and you have Warhammer's players playing in there, and I love all the little terrains. Like
Yeah, the
Oh,
train.
they're
Warhammer
the
games is
Warhammer
incredible.
train's awesome. Yeah.
when we're playing Fallout, and I was
Yes.
really getting into just like buying random ruins and all that, and trying to convert that or hand it
Yes.
to you.
Uh-huh.
It's like, here, paint this. Oh, I got you this. I felt like a little like companion from Fallout. Oh, I came and got you this scrap metal.
Yeah. Hey, boss, I got you this. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was
And
good stuff.
Then I started looking at the Warhammer ruin stuff and just like, what can be converted to Fallout? It wasn't a lot, because a lot of it's really high tech.
Yeah,
If you're doing the
there's
40K stuff, yeah.
there's definitely a theme when it
But
comes
if
to
you're doing
40K.
the fantasy stuff, you're usually pretty
that's-
good.
some of the Necromunda stuff could be all right.
But then again,
but-
the new fantasy stuff with Age of Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar, yeah. Yeah,
they
exactly.
Went techno
Yeah.
on that too, which is unfortunate.
But
Well,
hey,
I
we
definitely
got more
say,
rats.
like-
We got more Skaven.
I definitely want to say like getting them all on the same page. Like,
Yeah.
whoever your management is, and maybe there's, maybe I'll play devil's advocate here. Maybe there's a lot of happening behind the scenes that we just don't know about. 'Cause
There always
obviously
is,
there
right,
is.
right, Yeah. there always
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
Maybe they are making the best choice out of very bad decisions.
Yeah, they're maybe yeah. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
I-
Maybe they're polishing a turd, but
I'd like to.
maybe you spend more time on it.
I'd like to see some more transparency on the Larian decision to like, we're not gonna release any. We're dumping them. We're not releasing any more expansions. We're not doing anything of that for Baldur's Gate 3. You just sold the best game in video game history.
Yeah,
And then
Oh,
you just
Larian,
you
yeah.
dump it off like a baby in front of a monastery.
yeah. It's like, wait, you did what?
You know what
Yeah.
they're doing? They're allowing Pathfinder, who makes games all the time, by the way. Pathfinder has tons of video games.
Mm-hmm.
What if Pathfinder comes in and says, "Hey, Larian, they treated you like crap. Let's make something real cool." And Larian's like, "You got it."
I'm down.
Like suddenly,
Yeah.
D&D is taking a back seat in video game world. Right.
We need to get some mole going. We need to get some half dwarves.
I mean, in reality, we talk
That's
about
more Dark Sun.
Baldur's Gate 3. We talk about, how well Larian did with that. Like, it's basically the same system that they used for Divinity.
Oh, okay.
Like, they basically layered Divinity 2.
Mm.
They layered D&D and Baldur's Gate over.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Okay.
And because Divinity is incredible. Like, Divinity 2, those games are so cool. You can do all the cool things of, like, you find a bucket, you just put it on your head, and now you gotta, all kinds of stuff, right? Because you wake up, like,
Essentially naked.
yeah.
Maybe that's the other thing. Is like whoever
So they have experience in these games. Like, they were the premier people who created these style of games, and Baldur's Gate 3 fit right into it.
Nice.
And it makes me sad they got rid of Larian. If they decide to make another Baldur's Gate 3, or Baldur's Gate 4, even down 20 years from now, you want to hope that they go with a studio who knows how to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, going with the other management decision of we just brought up Baldur's Gate. It's just like I've played that game. I went real far in it. I got to like Baldur's Gate. I haven't finished it quite yet, but we're there. There's multiple moments in that game where they did things I was not expecting, even in my 15 years of experience. And I guessed a couple of things that were going to happen. It's like, oh, this is going to happen. Yeah, but that's the stereotype. Those were stereotypical.
Those are the tropes that have to be there.
That's
almost.
the D&D stereotypical tropes.
Yeah.
But there's like lots of twists and turns with the story. It's like, why don't you hire these people that were writing that story to make your adventuring books? Because it seems like whenever they bring out an adventuring book, it feels like it's 80% complete. And then you go to the DM's Guild, and maybe that's their business model. 80% complete, then we'll have the writers build, oh, this is the ultimate guide to this thing. This is how you improve it on the DM's Guild.
Yeah.
And then it's Wizards of the Coast bringing it out.
So they do that. So there's
80%. What are these,
game
ghost
out there
campaigns?
that kind of lives by that moniker. It's a game called RimWorld. Yeah, RimWorld's a really cool game. And they come out with expansions for the game all the time. But the core of the game, there's so many things that the modding community comes in and says, we're going to make this easier. We're going to make that easier. Everything's going to be much cooler one way, shape, or form here. And the creators of RimWorld seem to relish in that. There's some things they just don't fix because the modding community's already taken care of it. They're like, all right, well, we're just going to let the modding community take care of that side of it. And there is something to be said.
I
about
like
allowing,
that, but I also think it can be kind of lazy.
It can be a little bit. There's something to be said for allowing your community to kind of take the reins a little bit and guide where certain things go. And
I mean, that's what the beginning.
But there's a good way to do that, and there's a bad way to do that.
Like the beginning of 5th edition, where you basically let the third-party community kind of really guide you and make you explode.
Yeah.
But you also did the right marketing. Many things just fell into place. I mean, you had Stranger Things, you had Pandemic,
Stranger Things was,
and then Critical Role. I mean, I'm wearing a Hellfire Club T-shirt of all things. Why we're playing this all?
Am I the only one with that non? Oh no, you're not.
No, I'm not. No, mine's
You're still wearing a gaming shirt technically.
I was like, am I the one with a non-D&D shirt on? Hold on, let me look around the table.
No, I'm not wearing a D&D shirt either.
But I mean, maybe just all the stars aligned with it, but it felt like a lot of like the business decisions within those first 5-6 years were the right ones.
Yeah. It seems
and
like at the start
since then,
yeah.
After the pandemic, it just.
Hey, tabletop gamers! Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.